Happy day, students. Welcome to San Academy Pallikarnai, Reproduction in Animals, Part 3, Class 8 Science. In this video, we are going to discuss in detail about external fertilization and internal fertilization. So first, let us focus on external fertilization in frogs and toads. The frogs and toads reproduce by laying eggs in a slow stream or pond. The female frogs first lay hundreds of eggs together in the water. These eggs are not covered with any hard shell. Instead, there is a jelly-like substance that guards them all and holds them together. As the female frog lay their eggs, the male frog deposits the sperms over them. This results in external fertilization when the sperms come in contact with the eggs in the water. Though the eggs are large in numbers, only a few of them manage to survive. There are several factors which may hinder the fertilization process, such as exposing to water movement, rainfall, winds, and other animals. Internal fertilization in hen. Hens reproduce by laying eggs. And after the formation of zygote, it keeps on dividing itself and then travels through the oviduct. In this process, different layers are formed over the egg that then turns into a hard shell or covering of the egg. When this hard shell is formed, the hen lays the egg. Then it takes almost 3 weeks for the embryo to develop into a chick. In this time period, the hen often sits over the egg to provide it with warmth. What are test tube babies? In some women, the oviduct are blocked and hence they are unable to hold the eggs. This means that these women are not able to bear babies because of blocked oviducts. However, due to the process of vitro fertilization or IVF, in vitro fertilization, the freshly released eggs of females and the male sperms can be fertilized externally. The zygote thus formed is allowed to develop for a week outside the female body in safe conditions and is then placed in the woman's uterus. In this way, the women can bear babies. The babies that are born with the IVF process are called test tube babies. Development of the embryo. The zygote formed after the fertilization process divides itself in a repeated manner and forms a ball of cells. These cells then form different groups and each group then start developing into different tissues and organs. This structure is called embryo. The embryo embeds itself into the uterus wall and continues to develop and grow. Soon the body parts such as hands, legs, feet, eyes and ears start developing. The embryo, whose parts can be identified individually, is called a fetus. The fetus then completely develops and takes birth as a baby. How is an embryo different from a zygote? A zygote consists of a single cell, whereas embryo consists of more than one cell. In zygote, it is formed as the fertilization process occurs. Embryo, it is formed after the fertilization process. And zygote, it has no well-defined organ or tissues, whereas embryo, the body parts and tissues are well defined in it. Based on the way how the organism give birth to their offspring, they are classified into two categories, and they are viviparous and oviparous. Viviparous are the organisms that give birth to their young ones directly, whereas oviparous are the organisms that reproduce by laying eggs. Example of viviparous are human being, dogs, cattle, and cats. For oviparous, it is fishes, reptiles, and amphibians. So now let us have a look into turning into adults from young ones. As individuals are born, they continue to grow until they turn into adults. The young ones may or may not look like the same way they become adult. For instance, in case of frogs and silkworms, the adults and young ones are completely different. So, what is metamorphosis? The process in which young ones undergo drastic changes as they develop into an adult is called metamorphosis. Human beings do not undergo metamorphosis. This is because their body parts remain the same from the childhood to adulthood. Now, in the next upcoming video, we will be discussing in detail about the second mode of reproduction, that is asexual reproduction in animals.